This is Tammy Frazier with IVS. Welcome to part 3 of our Smart Response video tutorial series on locating and using Smart Response content pages from the gallery. In the last video in this series, we looked at how we can use the Smart Response templates to collect data on the fly. These are really great for student polling, engaging student comfort levels. However, I do want to note that for Check for Understanding, student clickers will not reflect the correct answer because it has not yet been set. In this tutorial, we're looking at how we can set those answers so the students will receive scored feedback on their clickers. Setting up our templates is going to begin by selecting your template from the gallery and bringing it into your Smart Notebook file. This is what we looked at in the first video of the series. Next, you're going to decide on your question and either type it, write it, or draw it on your page. After you know what your question is going to be, we're going to set the answers using the Smart Response tab, 5th tab down, and your notebook side tabs. And in the panel that appears, we're looking for the Properties tab. And within that Properties tab, you're going to select the Answer Key button and enter the correct response to the question you've asked. At that point, your question's ready to go and use with your students. So let's take a look at this example. This is a numerical question, and perhaps I'd like the student clickers to reflect the correct answer. In this case, I'm going to enter my question on the page, and I'm going to double-click the existing text box to type over it. At this point, I'm going to enter my question. Now that I know my question, I'm going to the 5th tab down on the side tabs, the clicker, to open up the Smart Response tab. I'm looking for the Properties button. You'll see that it does give me a place to enter my answer key, so I'm going to select Show and enter the correct answer. So this file is ready to go with your students. So once you press the Start Assessment button in the toolbar, I'm going to send it to student clickers and they can begin responding. And you'll see once you stop the assessment, that the data is collected in the Smart Response tab as before. However, this time you do have a green section letting you know that this was the correct response, that 2 students passed, and on student clickers, they're getting feedback on how they did on this assessment. Show you a couple more examples of how you might pre-enter or preset your answers when you're doing an assessment using those templates. In this case, this is a multiple choice question, and you'll see that students are going to respond with A, B, C, or D, and their clickers are going to reflect whether they got that answer correct or incorrect. Here's an example of how we would use a yes-no template. You'll see that the question has been entered on the page, and students are going to get feedback on their clickers of whether they've answered correctly or incorrectly. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video series, and thanks for joining us. Enjoy those templates.